The Scions of 12 Banner is the newest seasonal banner themed around the 12 Crusaders of Jugdral. This seems to have replaced this year's Dancer themed banner unless it's been moved around. Dressed up to honor their Crusader ancestors, we have Lewyn, Julia, Larcei, and Harmonic Leif Seliph. We'll be going over everyone's stats and skills while talking about some builds and playstyles. First up, we have Lewyn, who will be our 4-star focus unit. You can get him at 4-star or 5-star rarity. Before we begin, let's talk about what to call these units. I've seen some comments using Scion as their designator, but if we shorten that to just S, then some people may think these are summer units. Personally, I'm in favor of using Crusader because that's what the quote-unquote in-game festival is dedicated to. We could use Scion Crusader or Crusader Scion, but I'm just going to be saying Crusader for now. Back on topic, Crusader Lewyn is going to be a blue infantry mage. For stats, he has 40 HP, 38 attack, 40 speed, 19 defense, and 34 resistance. As a reminder, CY05 has brought in Gen 6 BST. Lewyn actually ties Guinevere for fastest blue infantry mage, and he has more attack than her. He also has attack and speed super boons, which is really nice for a 4-star focus unit. For some mode skills, Lewyn's going to have Luna as his special, then he has Attack and Res Solo 3 and Infantry Flash 3. Infantry Flash is actually insanely rare. It was only on Legendary Marth since its release. It gives infantry allies within 2 spaces, Flash and Blade 3, so it can lead to some interesting setups. Lewyn's going to have a new inheritable blue tome with him, the Drifting Grace Plus. This is a 12 might tome, and at the start of the turn, restore 10 HP to the unit. Then, at the start of combat, if the unit has more than 25% HP, they get plus 5 attack and speed. This is a really simple weapon, but it's also a bit odd. Basically, every turn you gain 10 HP, which is generally pretty good. You do need to stay above 25% HP to get the attack and speed boost, so the self-heal is appreciated. One good thing about this tome is that it works on either phase with no positioning requirements. Now, generally a lot of faster offensive mages tend to be a bit squishy, so skills like Desperation are nice to avoid actually dying. Drifting Grace's 10 HP heal may mess with that 75% HP threshold. However, you could use something like Fury or a Push 4 skill to cancel out that heal with recoil damage. The issue with that strategy is that too much recoil may put you under 25% HP, which deactivates the attack and speed boost of the weapon. Both of these skills can work, but there are some fringe scenarios you need to be aware of. Generally speaking though, with this weapon you just really want to stay healthy. Now, for Crusader Lewyn, he pairs Drifting Grace with Attack and Res Solo. That's fine for extra attack and res, and you can refine Drifting Grace for 2 extra speed. Of course, you can then take the Attack and Speed Solo Sacred Seal. Benefits of this setup is that you get all your stat boost on both phases, and Lewyn's going to be quite fast. Instead of Desperation, I would probably use this tome with something like low speed and res, or something like Special Spire or no follow-up. If you aren't feeling these solo skills, good old Swiss Sparrow is fine. For C skills, Lewyn can keep Infantry Flash, or you can use Time's Pulse or something like Speed and Res Oath. Sacred Seals can be Flashing Blade, and maybe Mystic Boost could be interesting with this weapon's healing. In terms of other inheritable tomes, Lewyn has options to take advantage of with his high attack and speed. From Halloween Ileana in the Divine Code shop, you can get the Spooky Sensor, which is a Fury 3 tome. If you got 4-star Summer Loot, she has the Flora Guide Plus, which inflicts -5 speed and res at all times. And then if you got Summer Camilla, she has the Juicy Wave Plus, which is a Desperation 3 tome. Obviously, these are a bit more traditional effects for a basic Fury, Desperation, and Brazen Attack and Speed setup. We even have the Blue Fox tome, which can also fit in just fine. If you do want to make Lewyn a bit tankier, you can instead go for the Pack Blooms from Valentine's Veronica. Overall though, Crusader Lewyn is in an okay spot as a 4-star focus mage without a unique tome. Drifting Grace is pretty nice if you just want an easy attack and speed boost, but there are some other tomes as well. Next we have Crusader Julia. This time she's a red flying mage with 39 HP, 42 attack, 35 speed, 16 defense, and 35 resistance. Sort of similar to Lewyn, but Julia loses some speed for a whopping 42 base attack, which ties her highest out of any red mage. Naturally, she also has an attack super boon. Now, we did not get a lot of Gen 5 mage flyers, and I don't believe we had any who were red flying mages. With Gen 6 BST, Crusader Julia actually has 12 more base stats than Summer Dual Byleth, which is pretty wild. For old skills, Julia is going to have Rally Speed and Res for buffing. She then has Attack and Speed Push 4 and actually gets her Light and Dark B skill from Legendary Julia. Light and Dark is basically an Omni low skill and nullifies adaptive damage. Flyers cannot use lulls anyways, so Light and Dark is pretty unique, and Julia's not going to have to worry about dragons completely shredding through her low defense stat. Now unfortunately, Julia is going to want all those stats because she does not have a unique tome. Like Lewyn, Julia has the Luminous Grace Plus, which is an inheritable red tome, and it does the exact same thing as Lewyn's weapon. A +5 speed boost could be pretty neat for someone like Peleus who actually has some speed to work with. Again though, it is the red inheritable tome that is locked behind a seasonal 5-star only unit. Now in terms of builds, generally Crusader Julia can be built pretty similarly to Lewyn. Her speed is not the fastest, but it is workable, especially for a red mage. You will also need to work around her flyer skill restrictions compared to infantry units. For Julia, she can keep attack and speed push 4, ideally she's healing up the fire recoil damage, and in return, she now has plus 12 attack and speed for either phase. Both Luminous Grace and push 4 have the 25% HP threshold, so you really do not want to drop too low. With Light and Dark, Julia can get some interesting things going. Omni Low is fantastic in general, but being able to disable adaptive damage means Julia could focus on res tanking if you really wanted to. We do have a bunch of attack and res focus inheritable tomes like Peleus' new Lion tome or the Rabbit/Conch Bouquet tomes. In the future, I imagine we'll get an attack and res catch for A skill, and that would be good to use as well. We then have attack and res Menace or the new attack and res Solar Sacred Seal. Crusader Julia may not be a dragon killer, but she can fight them just fine, and she has lots of options if you prefer to focus on increasing resistance. If you rather focus on offense though, then Julia can go for Speed and Res Rain in the C slot, or Speed and Res Oath, which is from Dithorbo. Attack and Speed Solo or Blade Session Sacred Seals work fine, and if you want to mix it up, we have Speed and Res Form or Speed and Res Solo Sacred Seals. Again, the Fox Tome is another option for Julia, but I would only use it if you're going to go with Desperation. If you get a plus attack Julia and you don't want to invest too much, then you could also just try a Blade Tome for big damage. She can abuse flyer mobility skills like Flyer Formation or Aerobatics to swoop in for an attack. Overall, Crusader Julia is another decent unit without a unique weapon. Having Light and Dark does make her a bit more unique though, and I think it works fine with Luminous Grace Plus. Flying mages are tough to stop because of their mobility, and if Julia does get to you, she can definitely lay down some pain. Next up we have Crusader Larcei. This time she's wielding an axe, but boy does Larcei keep a lot of her signature traits. For stats, Larcei is going to have 40 HP, 39 attack, 42 speed, 33 defense, and 28 resistance. She has attack and speed super boons, and will be the new fastest X infantry unit. Gen 6 infantry BST continues to look nuts, and while Larcei definitely has her own specialties, she can be a pretty versatile unit if that's what you're looking for. For old skills, of course, Larcei keeps Ragnar Astra, 2 cooldown special that boosts damage by 40% of her speed stat. Ragnar Astra is one of the most busted specials in the game, and for comparison, Brave Mart's Shining Emblem special boosts his damage by 35% of his speed, so it's real close to the original. Now, Larcei will also have her own dodge B skill. This time it's going to be Frenzy, which is the newest addition, and basically it combines dodge with Desperation 2. Last, Larcei brings Joint Drive Attack for an all-purpose attack increase. Larcei will have a unique axe, the Whirling Grace. This 16-point axe accelerates specials, and at the start of combat, if Larcei has more than 25% HP, she gets plus 5 to all stats, she gets no follow-up 3, and if Larcei has more speed than the foe, she also gets no guard. Whirling Grace is actually pretty close to Bond's Creator's Sword, except you trade out no special charge for a plus 5 stat boost. Whirling Grace will give Larcei all the things she needs to abuse Ragnar Astra. It will naturally be on a 1 cooldown, and with no guard, you cannot stop Larcei from charging it up. She will be able to use it with Time's Pulse to pre-charge Ragnar Astra, then if she initiates, she procs it immediately, the enemy counterattack recharges Ragnar Astra, and hit number 2 will be another proc. This has been the popular strategy for the Ragnar Astra users, and like Ira, Crusader Larcei has no guard to guarantee it works, assuming she doubles. Speed will literally be the name of the game for Larcei. For her new inheritable A skill, Larcei will have Speed and Defense Solo 4. If the unit is not adjacent to an ally, gain plus 7 speed and defense during combat. This is just another tier 4 solo variant to add to the collection. Tier 4 solo skills only give 1 extra stat point, which isn't the most game breaking upgrade. However, it's also costs 300 SP, which may be more important for arena scoring. In terms of playstyles, Crusader Larcei really isn't any different from her fellow Ragnar Astra users, but she can perform well in other roles. With no follow-up, Larcei cannot be stopped if she wins a speed check, and no guard ensures Ragnar Astra is always charging. If you don't want to invest more skills, Larcei's base kit is fine. With Rolling Grace and Speed and Defense 4, she hits 54 speed, and if you tack on attack and speed solo as a seal, that takes it up to 60 speed. 60 speed equals 24 Ragnar Astra damage, which is stupid, and assuming Larcei doubles, she will proc Ragnar Astra, pretty much guaranteed. With Frenzy and plus 5 to all stats, she's not squishy at all, and if Larcei does get low HP, she can use Desperation, which will still let Ragnar Astra proc. Now, the less than 50% HP Desperation 2 is kinda wonky with Whirling Grace's over 25% HP threshold. If Larcei is really low, she doesn't get any stats or no follow-up. That may hamper her Desperation initiations. That said, I think Ragnar Astra works too well with Spurn 3. Spurn is dodge with +5 damage on special procs. As mentioned, Time's Pulse will pre-charge Ragnar Astra, Larcei can double proc it if she gets counterattacked, and 2 Ragnar Astra procs means 10 extra damage from Spurn. From our 60 speed example, 2 Ragnar Astras with Spurn equates to 58 extra damage on top of her basic attacks. And to make things even funnier, you can use Surge Sparrow to heal 30% of max HP on each of those procs. I'm permanently scarred from Ragnar Astra just on regular Aura from back in the day, and it just keeps getting worse. Now, while I can go on and on about Ragnar Astra, Crusader Larcei is very capable at a distant counter plus dodge build. She can even take distant pressure and attack at speed menace as well. If you do want more cooldown reduction, Flashing Blade is there to help, and Larcei will have a 4 cooldown Aether that will always be charging up. She could even run 4 cooldown Gale Force, and like Legendary Ephraim, Larcei has no guard, which means if Flashing Blade procs, she only needs 2 hits and guard cannot stop her. Crusader Larcei is a super flexible unit, so if someone does want to go for a lot of merges, you're not going to be disappointed. She's also an axe unit, so she can separate herself from the usual Swordmaster crew, including Brave Marth. Very solid unit. Last up we have Harmonic Leif Seliph. These two will be a colorless cavalry unit, but Leif is going to deviate from his legendary ult a little bit. This time is 40 HP, 40 attack, 41 speed, 27 defense, and 20 resistance. Harmonic Leif will have attack and speed super boons to no surprise. Now this past summer we got Summer Leone, who was our only Gen 5 BST cavalry archer. In comes Leif and Seliph to be our first Gen 6 bow cav, and they're also gunning for that offensive stat spread. Harmonic Leif will have more speed than Leone and more attack than his legendary ult to top the class in both categories. For ult skills, Leif actually takes both of his unique skills. He keeps S-Strength from his sword version, which gives him a one-time full heal and minus 1 special cooldown at the start of each fight. He then also has Norn Zeal from his legendary ult, which is basically a 3 cooldown Gale Force. However, Leif can only move 1 space. Considering ranged units cannot use Gale Force, it's a very good special. To accompany these skills, Leif will have attack and speed catch 4, top tier A skill for flyers and cavaliers. He also has Pulse Smoke to deal with specials. For their weapon, the Bow of 12 is a 14-my bow that enables Kanto 1. It also accelerates specials, and if Leif initiates, or if Leif has more than 75% HP and the foe is a major healer, he gets +5 to all stats and gets Seliph's Turfing Miracle Refine. That is to say, if Leif has more than 1 HP, he will tank any lethal hit. This will only work once per combat though. So, to make things clear, Bow of 12 has 2 separate activation conditions. One condition is just initiating, which means it's always active on the player phase. The second alternate condition is for the enemy phase, and it requires Leif to have more than 75% HP, and he must be facing a major healer. This is for good reason because of the miracle ability. Let's say Leif is attacked by a mage like Micaiah. Micaiah will just blast him with cavalry effectiveness, but she cannot one-shot him because of miracle. Now, what if we give Leif Mystic Boost? He would heal HP after combat. If another mage attacked Leif, he would just proc Miracle again, and well, that cycle would go on and on until you used a non-major healer. Except this is not true because of the greater than 75% HP condition. That high HP threshold is definitely targeted at Mystic Boost plus Miracle. Her Hell can do that combo, and they don't want Leif to abuse it on the enemy phase. Now, that's not stopping him from using it on the player phase with Norn Zeal. Leif can initiate, survive with Miracle, heal back up with Mystic Boost, proc Norn Zeal to attack again, survive with Miracle a second time, heal with Mystic Boost again. Then you can have a Dancer dance him, he attacks a third time, survives with Miracle a third time, and then you heal back up with Mystic Boost, and you can do this on and on for as many dances you can give him. Like with other miracle weapons, you can stop this by hitting Leif more than once. He does not have no follow-up, so quick riposte on slow units is perfect, assuming your first attack brings Leif down to 1 HP. For our Micaiah situation, she has free follow-ups, so on initiations, if Leif does not actually one-shot Micaiah back, she will just attack a second time and KO him. Now, I haven't even mentioned Kanto 1. For reference, Kanto will proc after Norn Zeal, but you must make an action, and you can't just retreat without doing anything. If Miracle isn't already annoying enough, Leif and Seliph have a Harmonized skill. It grants 3 effects to themselves and allies from Genealogy of the Holy War and Thracia 776. They get Resonance Blades, which is just +4 attack and speed. They get Desperation with no HP requirements, and they get a free follow-up attack when initiating. So, for Leif himself, this means he can sort of replicate Legend Leif's Brave Bow. He will attack twice immediately, and if he can use the free follow-up to cancel out 1 follow-up preventing skill. This is a fantastic skill for offensive units, but you got 1 turn. Now, there appears to be a certain guy named Reinhardt who is from these games. With this skill, Reinhardt can quad attack immediately at full HP. Oh yeah, Legendary Leif can also do the same. Now, what's really scary is that these buffs last for the whole turn, so Harmonic Leif and Legendary Leif can abuse these effects 2 times thanks to Northern Zeal. You then add Dancers to this mix, and well, it gets pretty nasty. So I feel like I've talked about how Harmonic Leif and Seliph want to play a lot already. They really want to initiate so that the miracle effect is always active, and it's not like they're slow either, so if you don't have a quick riposte type skill, then you have to outspeed them to even attack twice. Unless you can take Leif down to 1 HP in a single hit, you're going to need to hit them more than twice, so 1 rounding is extremely hard. I think Leif's kit is pretty fine to keep. S-Drink and Bowl of 12 bring Northern Zeal down to 1 cooldown. Guard can stop it from activating, but Leif could also use the legendary Sigurd tactic of just using Quick Impulse for the guaranteed activation. Leif can also use Heavy Blade, but an attack and speed boosting Sacred Seal is good too. Now, S-Drink can be replaced for low speed and defense or just desperation since the Harmonized skill only lasts 1 turn. However, like we mentioned, you can get a lot of mileage out of the Harmonized skill if Leif keeps attacking with Northern Zeal and some Dancers. Pulse Smoke is fine to keep as well, but if you're going to be hitting multiple targets, then Defense Smoke is great for extra damage. As we mentioned, you could use Mystic Boost to continuously heal for multiple miracle procs. You do sacrifice an extra stat booster though. It's a pretty funny tactic, but if Leif can't get the kill in his own 2 attacks, then any quick riposte user would just finish him off. Still, it could lead to some crazy Wings of Mercy tactics. Now, we've hyped Harmonic Leif and Seliph up a lot, but they can be stopped by multiple common tank skills. Guard can mess up Northern Zeal, and Fallout Prevention will stop Leif unless the Harmonized skill is active. The one thing that will be really tough to stop is Miracle. It's doable with Carry Effectiveness or a special on 1 hit, but you still need at least 2 hits to KO them. Just by surviving, Leif and Seliph can cause problems. Overall, these 2 are a great unit, very offensive long-range attacker with Miracle and Gale Force. That's going to be it for this banner breakdown. The Scions of 12 Crusaders are pretty solid units. Now, it's already begun, but our next Tempest Trials unit is Crusader Nana. She has a new type of staff and will be our very first free flying healer. Nana is looking real good, and we have some solid Sacred Seals which we'll talk about next time. See you then.